Please can you remind me if you'll be so kind, staring out into space, asking God to hear my case, trying to think of all things past. How long will my memory last? For purple angel, purple angel, purple angel.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer's Speaks Radio. We're out at the Minnesota State Fair. I'm your host and founder, Lori LeBay. It's just a wonderful place to be. We're at the Health Star Home Health booth in the Care 11 Health Building. And if you are looking at all to get a memory screening or information or resources, it would be a great place to start out. We're going to just be talking with people that are kind of going through the booth and wandering around out here. And it'll be an interesting conversation. But before we get started with that, I'm just going to introduce Alzheimer's Speaks to you. A lot of you don't know about our show. We've actually been around for 4 years, and Alzheimer's Speaks is based here in the Twin Cities, and we're an advocacy-based company providing multiple platforms to shift our dementia care culture from crisis to comfort around the world. We truly believe that by joining forces and sharing knowledge and just having these everyday conversations about life with dementia, that we can remove the stigmas attached to memory loss and help those live with the disease, continue on to live purpose-filled lives, full lives. And together, we're going to be able to help people understand this disease and remove a lot of the isolation and the fear that grips so many people. At our core, we believe collaboration is really the only way we're going to win this battle, and we know it's working because of all your clicks, your likes, your shares of all of our resources. Each of you has had a huge impact on raising Alzheimer's Speaks profile by sharing our information, and so for that, I really want to thank you. We were named the #1 influencer online regarding Alzheimer's according to ShareCare and Dr. Oz, and we would not have done that alone. It's because you shared with your Facebook friends, your Twitter tribes, your LinkedIn colleagues, and all the other social media out there. You see, each of us in our circles have so many people that are dealing with this disease, but we don't talk about it. And the only way we're going to get people to talk about it is to get them to feel that it's okay, that this is the new normal for the world, and this is a conversation that has to be had. So please, continue with your social media likes and tweets. We also, here on the radio program, love to raise awareness by giving voice to all. So we're always looking for new guests. So maybe you're somebody diagnosed with dementia, maybe you're a loved one or a friend caring for someone that's been diagnosed. Maybe you're an advocate, or you've written a book, or written a screenplay, music. We have had it all on there. Even Harvard Research has been on our show. So come and join us. Just go to alzheimersspeaks.com, click on the contact button, and tell me your story, and let's have a conversation about having you join us today. So let's get out and see what's going on here at the State Fair. Keep in mind that we did have a little bit of technical difficulty, and so we're just going to jump in a conversation that we were talking about dementia-friendly communities and what that's all about. Different. I work in Roseville. I've been involved with ACT. I've been involved with a grassroots community there too. And we actually got the city of St. Paul, or not the city of St. Paul, the city of Roseville, and I have to give credit to Sarah Barcel on this. She got them to actually dedicate a page on their city website for Alzheimer's and dementia.
Oh, wow.
And so there's tools and resources and events that are updated on a monthly basis that people can tap into. So there's a lot of really neat stuff. We've got the memory cafes out there where people with early memory loss and their care partners can get together with peers who have similar situations, but then once they walk in the door, that the disease kind of takes a back seat, and it's like a card club with no cards. It's
oh wow.
And so it's all about getting socially connected, because the top 3 things they say you can do to prevent it. And again, there really isn't a whole lot of science behind all of this. But to eat healthy, to exercise. They also talk about meditation and stuff is good. But the number one thing that's getting a lot of attention is staying connected socially. And so many times, I don't know if you ran into this with your own family, but when someone gets diagnosed with dementia, people pull back, and family kind of family and friends pull away, and their world gets really small.
Yeah, actually, that sounds familiar. I mean, there were friends of my birth dad who would still come around, but because of his condition worsening, they didn't do the types of things that they did before. And I can see that did definitely happen.
Yeah.
When you first called it the what cafe?
Memory Cafe.
Memory Cafe. I was thinking that people got together to do crossword puzzles and Sudoku, and
it's not that at all. We actually in Roseville we have 3 groups that meets at J. Arthur's coffee shop on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of every month, and it's free. Anybody can attend. And people with early memory loss, we don't test people. I don't believe in that. This is a concept that came from Europe that I brought over about 4 years ago this fall. And it really is about just having conversation and friendship, being able to laugh again. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we forget to laugh when we have disease, and I don't care if it's dementia, or if it's cancer, or whatever it is, but we get way too serious and we forget to live life.
Yeah.
And so, each time we get together, we sit in a square, and we have one person talk at a time. Because a lot of problems that people have with dementia is the background noise. So, for example, the state fair might be really, really frustrating for somebody with dementia, or even sitting in a restaurant, or the holidays when you have big gatherings. It's better to have smaller groups and then talk one at a time instead of talking over one another, because they call it kind of a salad mix, where they can't differentiate who's saying what. So if you're sitting in a restaurant and there's various tables around you, they're hearing all the words, and they don't know if it's coming from you across the table or sitting next to them or 2 tables over. They just hear it all.
Oh, wow.
And so it gets really, really frustrating. And I know for myself, as I get older, the background noise is becoming more of an issue for me. And I never understood that until it's like, turn that TV down.
It's true. And you really do have it here at the fair. It's quite loud.
Yeah, so it is kind of funny. But there's lots of things we can do. And then every time at the Memory Cafe, we always introduce ourselves. So there's no embarrassment, and a lot of times we're a pretty steady group, but we always, caregiver and care partner and the person with dementia always introduce themselves. And because in case someone forgot, it's just not a big deal, and it's just a courtesy thing. And then we do what we call bummers and blessings. And so we meet every 2 weeks. So what hasn't gone so right in your life in the last 2 weeks, and maybe it's like me, you had massive car problems that just cost you $1,000 that you're not really thrilled about, or maybe your dog or cat got sick, or it could be anything. So we share all of life, and then we wrap up with blessings. What are you grateful for? Because so often when illness hits, we forget what we're grateful for.
Right.
And then in between that, if maybe they have learned something or they're questioning something, they will they'll share that with the group. So one time somebody said they shared a story, and I'm okay to share these stories. They're all such advocates. But they said to the group, we had this situation last night when we went to bed, and my husband gave me this big hug, and he says, I really like you, but I'm married. And
wow.
She was just like, now what do I do? And so she slept in another bedroom, and, the group asked her, well, how did you deal with it? And she said, I prayed all night in the morning. He knew who I was. And she said, and he did, and everything was fine. But the amazing piece was when she shared that, just about every couple had gone through that. But it's one of those embarrassing things, kind of, that you just, and it's hard to say out loud that even happened, and how do you deal with it? And they had this amazing conversation, sharing stories. And it's so heartfelt, and they are just there to support one another. We've had some people who have had to place their loved one because the disease had progressed and they can't care for them at home. We've had some who have passed, and they're still a community. They're still invited to the group. They're not kicked out. It's really wonderful to see how people get uplifted when they're comfortable and they can be their authentic selves, and there's no shame or embarrassment, and just a support. And they're marvelous. I would love to see them all over. I mean, we're not sure how many there are in the country now. There's probably 125 to 150, but because most of them are volunteer based, we don't know where they all are, because this is just kind of that word of mouth thing. But on AlzheimersSpeaks.com, we do have a resource directory that we encourage people to input that information in, and so that people can find it and share it. Same like if you have a book or a video that you might have, you can actually become a member of Alzheimer's Speaks and then go ahead and share that with the world at large. You don't have to own the book. Maybe it's I'm Still Alice, or the movie. You can input it and just say, hey, this was really great. I want you to be able to find this a little easier. Here's the link. And so it's kind of fun I love my job. It's, I get to be creative and connect with people all over the world and hear stories like yours and what's going on. It's really, really fun. Have you experienced friends who are dealing with this in their families at all?
Not that I know of too much. My husband dealt with it with his grandmother, who he was very, very close to. And then some of my other friends, unfortunately, their parents died younger.
Mm-hmm.
And but no, I mean, what I love about what you're talking about, the Memory Cafe, is that you don't feel like you're alone.
Yep.
And I am from a very, very large family, but I guess we've just been blessed that it hasn't happened all that much. But it does affect affects the entire family dynamic when it does.
It really does. And bringing that up, this new movie, his neighbor Phil, which we're going to be doing a red carpet event, and we're going to have Rusty from the Twin Cities Hit Show interviewing some of the actors that come in town on Saturday night, and it's a private red carpet premiere. So sorry, there, audience, we're booked out. But you will be able to see it later on. The sponsors will be bringing that out into the community. But that film just shows so much of the realistic situations that occur. Well, I see that Holly Eide is available to talk to us with HealthStar Home Health. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Jackie.
Thank you, Lori.
Hey, Holly, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
You're just a busy little beaver over there in your booth. Man, you girls are working hard over there.
We are. We've gone through several memory screenings already today.
I know.
We're only at noon, I think.
I know. It's so nice to see what would you say the differences you're seeing in people this year versus last year? Because you were out here last year for the first year.
Right.
And I believe you guys are the first ones who have ever done memory screenings at the state fair.
We are. This year it is different. We're seeing some of the same faces that have come out from before. Some people are taking the test again just to use their baseline from last year. We're also seeing people who had said, you know what, I tried this last year. It was great. I really appreciate you guys being out here. And then we're seeing new faces. So we're getting a lot of traffic, but a lot of people now that we were here last year know what's going on and know what to expect.
Yep. I know I saw when I was in the booth a few adult children who knew you were here last year that were bringing out parents.
Oh.
And they were both doing it. The adult children and the parents were taking the tests.
Great.
And so that was kind of interesting as well. And I saw a couple of spouses kind of tag teaming it to see who was going to rate how.
Yeah, we get a lot of that. We get a lot of spouses trying to egg on another one and suggest they be the one to take the test. But what I always tell them is, you know what, if you're going to be the one to make the suggestion, I'm going to test you first.
That's a good one. that reduces the fear on the spouse there. I know. I kept going. Now you'll go behind the black curtain here. Afterwards you'll disappear. And they're like, "Is he coming out? Or is she coming out?" And it was like, well, yeah. They have great conversations, and people are just really so appreciative of you guys being out here and taking this time. And I know that you work cooperatively with the Alzheimer's Foundation of America in terms of doing the memory screening, so we can give a shout out to them and stuff. They've been wonderful in terms of helping sponsor that. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit more about HealthStar Home Health and what you're all about, your Whisper program, and you guys do so much.
Sure. Well, our Alzheimer's Whisperer program, we've been running that now for almost 3 years. It's a program that's based on helping people who are still wanting to live in their home or live in an assisted living facility. We provide in-home care for someone who's suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia. We go in and we teach and train the primary caregiver and offer them strategies to be able to deal with the challenging behaviors that often we see in someone that has Alzheimer's and dementia. We also offer skilled nursing services, IV infusion services, home health aides, private duty nursing. We also have on our behavioral side, we have behavioral nursing, and we also offer mental health services. So we have a large pool of services to pull from, not mentioning our therapies, which we can also use for someone who has Alzheimer's and dementia. It's often that we have individuals that don't realize that PT, OT, and speech therapy are very, very important pieces to managing someone who has Alzheimer's and dementia, especially with the speech. In later phases, we see that oftentimes people with dementia have swallowing difficulties, and that's when we would bring in a speech therapist. Very, very helpful. My aunt right now is suffering from dementia, and she's gone through the phase of having the difficulty of not being able to swallow. And so I know for us trying to get medications, her to be able to take those has been a very difficult task for us. And so we've brought in a speech therapist and have noticed a difference in her abilities. And she's been able to go back to eating on her own, and we don't have to work with just some of the pureed food. So it is very helpful.
Oh, that's great. Do you do much in terms of types of medications? Because I know, like with my mom and her dementia towards the end, the pills got a little harder, and I was shocked at how many pills can come in a liquid form, but you just got to ask.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that our nursing team can definitely help with and help direct people in the right way, get them to either the pharmacist or talk to their doctor about making a change. A lot of times people aren't aware that when a nurse comes into the home that they can make recommendations to their doctor. And our nurses, when they go in, they do talk to the primary doctor. Unbeknownst sometimes to our clients, they're able to get changes in their medication, they're able to get additional services that the person wasn't aware of. And so that way the person that's staying home doesn't always have to make an extra trip back out to the doctor. It's a one-on-one communication that we're able to take care of for them.
Okay. Can you tell us, because that's a really common question when I was at the booth, is like, how is this paid for?
Oh, sure. Yeah, there are different insurance programs that can help pay for some of the different programs. Medicare is a 100% coverage for us to be able to go in and help someone who might be newly diagnosed, or for someone who has dementia and has a significant change either in their health or has a significant change in their challenges. So if they start to notice new behaviors, something that's different, we can go back in under what we call a Medicare episode. It's completely 100% covered. But there are other insurance programs that do cover some of the same services that we offer.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I really liked about the Alzheimer's Whisper program was you just don't go in there and just work with the person with dementia, but you share the tips with the family,
right?
So that they can interact. So when you're not there,
right,
life can be better. And to me, that's such a huge and just a significant difference between you and a lot of other companies out there. I just think that's such a critical piece and brings so much added value to life with dementia.
Sure.
So, is there a favorite part of the fair that you like?
I think it's just fun seeing so many different faces and so many different people. We get a lot of people that come up and, want to share stories about a family member that is either currently suffering with memory loss. We have a lot of people that come up and talk to us just to say, you know what, I understand this struggle. It's something that I dealt with. My parent now has passed away, but they like to share stories and exchange, that camaraderie about what the challenges that they faced. And a lot of times we can engage people in volunteering because now that they've been a part of that, they can give back to others who are now going through this challenge.
Yeah. Now, I know that you guys have really gotten involved in the memory cafes and stuff. You want to talk a little bit about those and where you have those established?
Sure. Carondelet Village, which is over in the St. Paul area, it's part of the St. Kate's College. That is a program that we've been working with for, it's been a good 6 to 8 months now. They've got a great memory cafe going over there. We've actually gotten to the size where they need to separate it into 2 groups. And then there's a new one that started with the Northeast Block program, and that is also in North St. Paul area, and that one is being held out of the Epworth Church. So that is a new one that has just recently started.
Okay. I had a girlfriend who told me about that, and is it Margaret Wallace? Is she one of the people?
Rosemary Wallace.
Rosemary
yes.
Wallace. Okay.
She runs the Northeast Block program over there, and so we've gotten to know her and her team, and they've been doing a great job. They've got a series of Alzheimer's speaking series that are coming up. So if people want to go out and find out more information, lots of different resources there.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, I'll have to tell my friend Anita because she knows Rosemary, and she's like, you got to get over there. And I'm like, I just haven't had time. I haven't had time to do that. So, well, it's exciting. Now, you guys you work a lot in Minnesota, but do you work outside of Minnesota as well?
We do. We have a branch that's in Wisconsin, and then we also have another branch that's in New Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you just in the metropolitan area of the Twin Cities here? Or?
No, we actually have 10 different locations. We have a northern suburb area. We're all the way up almost to Canada in some of our areas. We're up in Cass Lake, we're in Bemidji, we're in Duluth. We go as far south as Fairmont.
Okay.
Is our other location that's down near the Rochester area.
Okay.
But we have several locations here in the Twin Cities as well.
Okay. Are the other locations doing memory cafes, or are you just starting them here?
Yep, we're going to be looking into additional locations. At this time, we just have the 2.
Okay, great. Because I know just from conversations, here at the fair, people are all over the place, and they're like, oh, we would love that to be in our area and stuff. And
yeah, if others are interested in hosting a site, we'd definitely be, happy to come out and talk with them about how a memory cafe is started, what is involved with it, and be able to help them launch something and get it off the ground.
Wonderful. Now, you've also been involved with me in Roseville, and all of the dementia-friendly things that are going on there. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and your experience with that?
Sure. That's part of the Roseville AD Community Action Team, and then there's also the Roseville ACT, group that has been putting together a lot of different resources. We just finished our speaking series there that took place in the spring. There were several presenters that came out and talked about struggles, that talked about the challenges, that talked about what memory loss looks like, and those took place at City Hall. And then we also had some of our other speaking series that took place at I'm forgetting the name of the school district. Oh, that's terrible.
It's it's like at the Roseville Senior Center and Community Center.
Right,
or it's
correct.
not Community Center, but Fairview Community Center, I think is what they call it.
Yeah, so we had several different speaking series that took place over about 8 weeks. And then we took the summer off, and we're getting ready to start up another speaker series. We've got a lot of doctors that are coming in that are going to be talking about Alzheimer's and dementia. Those will be taking place again at the Roseville City Hall. And there's a movie that we're going to be presenting in the fall as well. We have a couple of different days and times, and you can go to the City of Roseville website. They have a dedicated page to Dementia and Alzheimer's. They give a lot of different information about activities and events that are taking place around the Twin Cities. And on that website, they'll have the dates and times of the speaker series as well as the movie that is getting ready to come out. And it's an opportunity for us to share with the community what Alzheimer's and dementia looks like, and then there will be a speaker series after that so that we can engage our community and let them know more about Alzheimer's and dementia. If they have questions, there's a Q&A session as well.
What have you found different in terms of working in Roseville? Have you seen a difference compared to other communities in terms of involvement and connecting?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of people that have been reaching out to us. We see a lot of repeat people that come to the presentations because they not only find more information out, we find that the community at large in Roseville, it is the largest population of senior citizens in the Twin Cities area. And so we know that they really have demand over in that city that we need to address. And so we're finding that we're getting volunteers that are stepping up. We're finding people who are asking more questions. And we're able to reach back out to the businesses as well to be able to, not only having the fire and police involved, we're really reaching that we're all starting to be involved with dementia.
Yeah, it's really kind of this way, and and what works for you, and not just kind of a better and tapping into skill sets of those people that want to volunteer. It's very fun, and they just rave about it. In fact, they wanted all of the people they wanted to bring it to, and I told them we had to tone it down a bit because we were all in a little, it's so from a sanity point. We had to kind of step back and regroup so that we didn't be sustainable, as a group, and so that's been really kind of a fun bunch of others in terms of this new film being launched. Right. And has just been so incredible. We couldn't have done what his team has gotten behind this. Their owner, Tim Lively, has been so supportive and dedicated staff and time and money and energy. And, from the very first get-go of me approaching you guys were on board instantly and just such true partners and so much fun to work with. And I'm still kind of in a whirlwind, as I'm sure you are, that, we started kind of marketing and pulling, this plan together just in March.
Right.
And now this week, this film is really going to be launched, and it's getting, national attention, and people are graveling at where can they see it. Why don't you tell people a little bit about why you got involved with His Neighbor Phil, which is the name of the movie?
For us, I think the biggest piece to this movie is we see daily what the families go through and the struggles and challenges that surround Alzheimer's and dementia. And I think this movie is a really good depiction of what that really looks like on a daily basis. A lot of people have misconceptions about what it looks like. Some people have misconceptions about what the primary caregivers go through. Mm-hmm. And I think this film does an excellent job of not only showcasing the dynamics from several different viewpoints, not only from the spouse, but from the children, from the siblings, from the mother. There's just so many different dynamics of this film that we see that I think it's an eye-opener for others, and it can also be a segue in for those in the industry that are trying to reach out to those who are suffering from this and offer assistance. I think you'll see from the film what I'm talking about. I don't want to give too much away, but it really is a tremendous film. Once we saw it, we knew we wanted to be involved, knew we could use this as an opportunity to engage our communities at a larger level and be able to bring more awareness to Alzheimer's and dementia.
Yeah, it's been a fun project. I know as we did the talk back for it, I mean, I was just shocked, literally shocked at all the touch points. Right. All the different situations, all the different personality styles and twists and turns and it really shows that ripple effect of, when one person is in need, how things change. Right. And now, why don't you tell us a little bit about the events that are happening with His Neighbor Phil?
Okay, well, we're actually going to be having the premiere this Saturday, and that's going to take place at the Music Box Theater here in Minneapolis. We're going to be launching the film in Minneapolis, and that'll take place again this Saturday. We're bringing in the sponsors. The actors and actresses that were in the film will be part of the premiere. Scott, the director from My Town Pictures, he will be present. So we're going to have a great time. We're going to have an opportunity to show this film to several people in the industry, and then we're also going to have time for Q&A after that with the actors and with the director. And then on Sunday, August 30th, we're going to be back here at the fair, and we're going to have Daniel Roebuck, Ellen Dolan, Bob Bird, and Tim Balderramas. And those are all actors from the film that will be here providing autograph signings at our booth.
Oh, very fun.
Yeah.
That'll be an exciting time.
Yep.
And yeah, and Daniel, everyone's going to recognize him, and Ellen as
Right.
well. I mean,
Yep.
they've just really kind of been little legends in the film industry. Have been around a long time, and just very credible character, actors and stuff. It was too bad that we couldn't get Stephanie Zimbalist in, who's
Right.
the main lead, who
Yes.
plays Mary, because she just did such a powerful job,
Yep.
playing a woman with dementia. In fact, when we previewed this film with our Memory Cafe people, there were 4 of us facilitators sitting in the back, and it was incredible because every time Mary reacted to something in the film, the people in our audience with dementia reacted as well. And so if they were startled, or if it was a reaction to music or whatever it was fascinating. She just did a wonderful job in that role, as I think all the actors did.
They
and
did.
And don't we have one of the daughters? Isn't she back in the country? Is it Christy?
Yeah, Christy Knudsen, yep. She's a local actor from Zumbrota, Minnesota. This is the first time she's ever acted, and so she decided to be a part of the film, and she's the daughter in the film. So she gets a very strong role in this film, and so I was really impressed and excited to see her on Saturday as well at the premiere.
I'm surprised this is kind of a first time acting for her, because she really played that character so well. And
Yeah.
I know for some people it was upsetting because, she got mad.
Right.
And she got frustrated, and because everyone's kind of doing their own thing, and, she saw a different path. And my gosh, that happens in just about every family,
It does.
It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's what this film shows in a very realistic, I tell people, bring your Kleenex.
Yep.
But you'll feel empowered when you leave, I think, by watching everybody connect that was so disconnected, and that was kind of the gift of the disease.
Right.
So, well, Holly, thank you so much for spending so much time with us. I know that they're probably dying over at the booth, going, where is she? We've got memory screenings to do. So if you're out at the State Fair, or even if you're not, get your butt down to the State Fair and come down to Dan Patch and Cooper to the Health Fair 11 building and check out HealthStar Home Health. There's a big sign that says memory screening. You'll get great information. You'll have a lot of fun. You'll get to meet some of their staff and get some resources. Share your stories. Get talking about this. Join the new wave that's out there in becoming dementia friendly. So again, thank you all for all you guys do at HealthStar Home Health.
Thank you.
Yep. Well, we've been having a great conversation out here, and been trying to pull some people in, but it's been really a little difficult. It's awful busy out here right now. So
yeah, there's a lot of people running around, but I have a quick story for you, Lori.
You do?
I do.
Oh.
I'm Patrick here, but I have a little story about my step grandma who had Alzheimer's,
Uh-huh.
and she had dementia. And I was listening to your story, and she actually thought that my stepdad was her husband.
Oh.
So she was always hitting on him and
Uh-huh.
flirting with him, and trying to do inappropriate things with him, and it was super awkward for everybody, but everyone kind of understood, and it was a funny kind of sad thing, but I just thought that was a kind of a funny story I wanted to share with you.
Well, that's really very common,
Mhm.
and my brothers, for example, they used to get really mad, or I shouldn't say my brothers, I have 2 brothers, and it was my older brother would get so mad because my mom would always call him her brother, Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
And he would just get livid. And one day we were at the nursing home, because at the end of my mom's journey with this. I mean, she lived 30 years with it.
Uh-huh.
She was in the nursing home, and he heard my mom introduce me as her mother.
Oh.
And he said, what is wrong with her? How can she not remember her kids? I mean, he just got really mad.
Yeah.
And he's like, does that just upset you? And I said, Mark, I think I'm not upset at all. I said, Mom and Grandma didn't have that great a relationship.
Right.
And somehow that has healed through this journey, because my mom would always introduce me as, and that's my mother, and she takes such good care of me.
Aw.
And it just melted my heart that she somehow healed, her issue with her mom,
Yeah.
And then he'd say, well, she always calls me Chuck. And I said, well, Mark, first of all, you got to realize with the disease, sometimes people progress back in time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, she's at a stage right now where she wasn't married, so she doesn't have kids. And so she's calling you Chuck. And I said, that's a pretty big honor, because she loved her brother. Yeah. And she still does. And I said, and if you look at the mirror, you look like Uncle Chuck did when he was younger. So it really makes perfect sense with all of that. But it really is trying to depersonalize that whole piece, and that can get really difficult for families, especially if it turns into some sexual advances and stuff in terms of how to handle that. And it can be very, very common though.
Yeah, we went to a group session as a family, and some doctors gave us some really good advice, on how to deal with everything. And one of the tricks I'll always remember was that he explained how people with the disease just can't make new memories.
Yep.
But their old memories are usually very vivid. So I would always just ask her about things that happened in the past, JFK, all this old stuff, and she really lit up and would tell these great stories about all these things that happened in the past. The moon landing was my favorite. So it was fun. It's fun to kind of get those old stories a little perspective that you wouldn't normally ask somebody.
Well, and it is. It's really capturing that history, and now you've got those special moments. One of the big advocates in the dementia world is Bob DeMarco with Alzheimer's Reading Room, and he always talks about you have to go into their world, And his mom had it, and he ended up with it was so funny, and he has video of it. But this pet parrot, and it was a mechanical parrot, but it Polly's got a cracker, or it would talk to his mom, and she would engage in conversation every morning. And that parrot just made his mom's day. And he's like, I could have gotten really mad about it, but it brought her joy. And so if it brought her joy, it brought him joy. And sometimes we got to get out of our own way, to find the joy and just let go of the sadness and the grief, because we really can't control it. And get back to the present there. So, did you find with your situation, family or I shouldn't say family, but more friends, would they ask you about the situation? Did you share it with them at all, or?
Kind of. It was an interesting dynamic, because it was my parents were divorced when I was young, and it was my current mother and stepdad married when I was in third grade, so it was kind of like a family, but not. She wasn't like my grandma. I had grandparents.
Yep.
She was, just kind of like a friend to me.
Yep.
But my mom really took care of her all the way up until the end, and so we would talk about it with friends and stuff, but it wasn't very. I mean, it was difficult to see for my mother just because she was the primary caregiver.
Yep.
But it wasn't super difficult for me. It was a weird dynamic from the kind of the separated family type perspective.
Well, and a lot of times too, when there's kids, even it really doesn't make any difference what age. Sometimes parents don't share what they're really going with, but you can see the personality changes, you can see the stress, you can see their life adjust to these new needs, but it's not talked about. And I'll go into high schools and junior highs and talk, and it's amazing how many kids are affected by this.
Yeah.
And families aren't talking, and they're like, we want to help, but they won't let us. They try to pretend it's not happening, and we see it. And their priorities within the family have changed, but no one's talked about the priorities have changed. And so we really have to have these more open conversations and things, about dementia. And that's why it's so exciting to see companies like HealthStar Home Health and what they're doing in terms of getting behind things and really making a difference. When they came out here last year, there were a lot of people in organizations that said you cannot do memory screenings. You just can't do that at the fair. And they were like, yeah, we can. And, and they did, and people were shocked. I think last year they had over 2,200 people do memory screenings. Really significant amount. And I know just from the numbers I've seen so far today, they're going to blow that number out of the water. More people are receptive. You're seeing more stuff in the news all the time, about dementia. In fact, I was looking at my Google alerts, and this is over in the UK, and they're way far advanced from us in dementia care. But there was a bus company who has changed their flooring on their bus to be more dementia friendly.
Oh, that's
so it's
that's
not all
interesting.
dark, so that they can see the difference from a spatial issue, which is kind of incredible on that. So, well, I think what we'll do is probably wrap up here. And it's just been a fun day at the State Fair. Again, HealthStar Home Health is going to be out here the whole time, and they're here from like 9 to 9. Come out and get your free memory screening. If you come on the half an hour, they're giving away free bags. And if you get a memory screening also, you'll get a water bottle, lots of free resources. And there's just lots of cool stuff actually out here in the Health Fair 11 building. So don't miss it. Come on out. And we will talk to you with our next show, our regular time on Tuesdays. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.